Yeah, hi there. I'm not admitting anything. I'm just saying that as an autistic person, I've seen the difference, and when I was able to use it as a medical type of thing, like a medication, and actually have those different thoughts put into my head, have it serve me as a medicine and not more recreational, then I became a little bit more, what do you say, uh, re- um, aware or wise to the difference between medical people's uses and recreational uses, which some people use recreationally or not. I'm not gonna debate that or not, but some people can find out use doing recreationally like that it actually might possibly medicate them. So self medication that it does, um, medicating. That means good, not this is not over medicating or anything like that. It's not talking about something in the negative, but I do not um, at this point, because I've had a lot of different experiences, I would not suggest to somebody um, under the age of 25 to smoke or drink alcohol. That's just my suggestion, even though I did myself, under the age of 18, maybe even smoked weed and drank some 40s and stuff like that. Um, I just, from things that I've read and am aware of now, I would not suggest to people, young people, to start drinking and smoking weed until you're around 25. I just adamant about it, and I really believe that you need to lay off of your body and let your body, um, grow into all of its parts and everything before you start messing around like that. Um, and then I used to smoke cigarettes too, but I quit. I quit as soon as I'll be frank. As soon as Obama said he was going to tax everybody over, I am a strong constitutionalist, and I do not believe in taxation and over taxation, and that's what you're getting with the Democrat Party. So it's political time or whatever right now, and I don't think that it's time to lay off of politicians and hold back, and express, your concerns and problems with different issues and stuff like that. But as far as being an autistic adult man and marijuana, I can say that it helps. So I would be pro for people to use it maybe in the oils and other different ways I would recommend, which actually gets you high too. I'm not worried about them getting high to have the different effect to see if it can work as a drug in a good way for them. All the different ways that marijuana can treat so many different ailments that people have. All I can say is I'm pro for them having that the ability to use it maybe on their tongue or eat it or whatever. But I just have a problem with alcohol and um, smoking, like cigarettes and weed for people. I know young people are gonna do what they're gonna do anyways, but you hear me out. It's the smoking part is what I have a problem with because it's harming their lungs. So um, I'm not gonna anyway come out and say, yeah, man, that's cool. Let's go smoke a joint, man. That's good for your lungs, man. Maybe if I had a condition or if you were an older person, and you used it not not in a recreational sense. So um, when um, I'm autistic, right? So while I was, say, um, severely, you could tell. You could tell. I mean, if you knew what it was, you didn't have to ask any questions. You could tell by looking at me or whatever. Um, I was kind of almost a mute at times. I'm just kind of like all to myself. Um, so when I had the opportunity to do that, it was more of a recreational hazard, is what it was, because I wasn't getting anywhere successfully or doing anything positive, except that I found out that um, something natural like that um, worked overwhelmingly great. So it's a difference between, having some bad thoughts or whatever and just being pretty much normal. So all I wanted to say left, I'm just kind of hanging on to this like a Chad, I guess. Hey, Chad, I'm hanging on to this because I need to make a statement. Um, I just wanted to say, um, oh, here it is. Now I'm gonna go. It's that I don't think that it's bad being autistic. Like you shouldn't hammer people with it. I've been made to believe like um, it's like a shame, like be ashamed of that or something of who I am. And I'm 39. I've only recently been made more aware of it since I was 35. So about 34 or 35. So somebody had a conversation with me and told me what was going on or what was up or whatever. And I was like, whoa. So all I can say is that every person, even if they are that or not, each person is different, and each person does not wake up to not do better for themselves or to be in a better place or or to be able to enjoy life more. You don't wake up say I want the same. I want what today that darn it, I want the same that I had yesterday and the same that I had the day before, and I just want to stop right there. I don't want to improve, you know. I don't want to fight for my rights, I'll just stay right here. I'm comfortable, you know. I don't think that typically people wake up. All of us are just kind of the same, whether you're autistic or not, or whatever if you have a condition or not. Um, I don't think that people are not passionate to not wake up every day to not want to achieve more or to be in a better place. You don't strive to, um, necessarily just die or strive to, like I said, stay in the same place. So that's all I'm trying to say is that um, if I was trying to think of something positive because I may have said some things that may seem like kind of negative, like if other people with autism would hear what I said, would be kind of like think I put it down or whatever. I'm not trying to put it down, but trying to say like I want to be more normal or I want to break out of autism. I don't want to be that anymore. You know, that's not true at all because I don't know um, how the lack of intelligence would go from that point. Um, I wouldn't want my your brain functions like this sometimes. It's like and you're like the other day. I'm trying to explain this to somebody. The other day, I was having one of my days, and my mind's just going all over the room. It's going bazonkers. I'm just like with thought. I'm just like no one track mind, you know. It's just all over the place and it's spinning like a spin. Like so, all I can say is that on the other hand, whenever it's working right and properly, it's like, I can talk normal, function normal. I can joke, make some really funny jokes that aren't over the wall or anything like that. Just crack after crack. Sometimes I can get going and they're legitimate. They're not, like I said, over the top or whatever. So you look at ways to function or whatnot. So I have one bad day for out of, you know, how many bad days? Say compared to good days. There's a lot more good days than bad days. I would say probably maybe a week of bad days in the course of months, like at least 4 to 6 months. I was thinking like a year, but I was like, I don't want to exaggerate or whatever, because everybody I think has bad days, good and bad days. Our days are just different sometimes. And they're like people like say, I heard violent come up with violent all the time. Well, if you want to think about me being violent or anybody else being violent, um, look at the way that some of the people have talked to us, you know, in our lives or whatever, the way we've been treated. Um, when I was in the 80s, they made me um, go to a class. It wasn't for handicapped kids necessarily. They called me a retard and stuff like that and bashed me every morning. But the class that they put us in was for kids with bad behavior. So they always threaten to put us in like jail, prison school. It was like reform school, but it's um, like for everybody's bad. They could say everybody's bad that goes there is has trouble. So I don't know where the true reform is on any of that, and really I believe that people have to start within their own self if they want to really reform or change for the better. They have to be able to have a opportunity to be helped themselves to be a better person, you know, not have more and more things thrown at them to make them struggle more. And that's where I thought I was on track with uh, politics, in particular, being a conservative. I would think that you would want to talk to people more than to just go and arrest somebody. If I were a cop and I were to able to go and talk to somebody, I might be the difference between, let's say, me giving this guy a charge and him thinking I'm a punk for the rest of his whole life, or the difference between that cop that went and talked to you and actually talked you um, away from a life of crime or away from hating me and actually said something that changed not just the course of that situation and saved your butt, but said something, was able to be kind of a little bit of a socialite with, comment. So that's where I'm coming from. I would uh, particularly think of myself as one of the negotiators, a negotiator type of person who really would want something more positive. I'm not trying to look for it negative. Um, on honestly anything that I do. So I want resolve, and sometimes I do things or say things that are wacky and out of character. But again, last thing I say is you just have to look at where I've been and has been said to me and things that I've experienced and seen, you know. So that's another thing I was gonna say is people with autism in particular, because I know that because who I am in particular, those people have to be taken care of in a way like those are the people who need every positive example to be shown to them. So I don't know if you need to ignore them sometimes if they have an episode for no reason, or they just get mad at you or whatever. You have to, people in general, if you want to help us all break out of that, you have to start, I think, the earlier the better. I don't know how much damage is done once a person's up there in age, but young people, don't let them see all of the raw things. If you're like saying, oh man, there's children here, whatever. You don't say certain things in front of children, not on purpose. You would refrain, wouldn't you? So with people with autistic, you have to be a bit more careful with them, and that's just my opinion. And I come from from a time when nobody knew all that stuff, and they are. I've also been discriminated against, so it's like saying like you people. You wouldn't say that to a black person, would you? Are you a racist? That's why I'm like kind of glad, pretty much glad that my parents raised me around all different kinds of people and didn't ever have a form of an opinion against anybody in any race in particular at all. So if I do, it's all on my own, built up on my own from whatever I've seen. Mm. That's all I'm saying. It's just be careful of what you show people because it goes a little bit further with some of those. Thanks.